Just 1 second. Yeah. We have to read it. Correct. So, recording has started. So, normally, Archana Di is the first one to read because she can't read afterwards. She has to go to dispensary. So, Archana Di, you have the text?
Yes, Ranganath, I'm reading.
Go ahead, read the text.
This is the object of the incarnation, but what is the method? First, we have the rational or minimizing view of avatarhood. It sees in it only an extraordinary manifestation of the diviner qualities, moral, intellectual, and dynamic, by which average humanity is exceeded. In this idea, there is a certain truth. The avatar is at the same time the vibhuti. The Krishna, who in his divine inner being is the Godhead in a human form, is in his outer human being the leader of his age, the great man of the Vrishnis. This is from the point of view of the nature, not of the soul. The divine manifests himself through infinite qualities of his nature, and the intensity of the manifestation is measured by their power and the achievement. The vibhuti of the divine is therefore impersonally the manifest power of his quality. It is his outflowing in whatever form of knowledge, energy, love, strength, and the rest. Personally, it is the mental form and the animate being in whom this power is achieved and does its great works. A preeminence in this inner and outer achievement, a greater power of divine quality, an effective energy is always the sign. The human vibhuti is the hero of the race's struggle towards divine achievement. The hero, in the Kalian sense of heroism, a power of God in man. I am Vasudeva, Krishna, among the Vrishnis, says the Lord in the Gita. Dhananjay, Arjun, among the Pandavas, Vyasa among the sages, the seer poet, Ushanas among the seer poets, the first in each category, the greatest of each group, the most powerfully representative of the qualities and works in which its characteristic soul power manifests itself. This heightening of the powers of the being is a very necessary step in the progress of the divine manifestation. Every great man who rises above our average level raises by that very fact our common humanity. He is a living assurance of a divine possibilities, a promise of the Godhead, a glow of the divine light, and a breath of the divine power.
Okay, so Sanjay is saying that the avatar is essentially divine, but he is also human being. He has got a body, mind, life, which is part belongs to the lower creation. It is in the lower hemisphere. His nature is in the upper hemisphere, but uh, he is also living in the physical world. Okay. So this is the object of the incarnation. So what is the object? Just to make a resume. The first is to be an example to man for emulation, for as an example. Okay. Second, the avatar leaves a divine vibration in earth atmosphere. The third is to give a method of ascent to the divine status. How do you go? What is the method? So it gives you the method, the proper discipline of every yoga. Fourth, it takes the evolution forward. Okay? It takes the evolution forward, one step. In fact, Sridhar says that every step that goes upward, it is done by the work is done by an avatar. Rama established the moral code, Krishna established the spiritual code, okay? And now Sridhar, by definition of his own definition, he is establishing the supermind. Therefore, he also is an avatar. This work is always done by an avatar, okay? He says this in another place. And we know very well that he is responsible for the supermind descent, he and mother. So they are also avatars by that definition of his own elsewhere. Okay, so first we have the rational, the last one I didn't say. Okay, the last one is Lokasangrahanartham, preparing the kingdom of God on earth. These are the purposes of the avatar. Now he is saying we have seen the purpose. What is the method? How does he come down and take a human body? Okay. The divine is without body. He is perfect in nature. So how can he put on the cloak and the disguise of human beings with body, mind, life, gross body, mind, life? What is the method? So, first of all, Srivendra says we have the rational and minimizing view of avatarhood. Look at the word minimizing. Give least value to the. So even there, the least value of avatarhood is the highest value of ordinary man. That's what he's going to tell us. Okay, so he is the best among men. First, we have the rational and minimizing view of avatarhood, which sees in it only an extraordinary manifestation of the diviner qualities, moral, intellectual, and dynamic. Dynamic means someone who can work miracles in the physical world, who can do fantastic work in the physical world. Okay, dynamic, leave a huge effect in the physical world, by which average humanity is exceeded. In this view, there is a certain truth. So somebody is admitting that that also there is a truth. And what is the truth? The avatar is at the same time the vibhuti. The vibhuti, there is a whole chapter, chapter 10, afterwards on the vibhuti. The vibhuti is superior to the normal man, but he is inferior to the avatar. The avatar is completely a divine essence, but the vibhuti expresses one power of the divine and has a specific work to do. The work to do for the avatar we have just now seen, but the work um, for the vibhuti is one particular work, not everything. Okay, so this is the definition of a vibhuti. We'll see that later on in another chapter. The avatar is at the same time the vibhuti. This Krishna, who in his divine inner being is a Godhead in a human form, is in his outer human being the leader of his age. So he is far superior to the average man, the great man of the Vrishnis. That's it, the clan. The Vrishnis are the clan from which Varshneya comes. Okay. This is on the point of view of the nature, not of the soul. So this is, belongs to the lower hemisphere, not the higher hemisphere. The divine manifests himself through infinite qualities of his nature, and the intensity of the manifestation is measured by their power and their achievement. How much power is he bringing into the physical world and what is he being able to achieve? That's what determines the measure of the qualities, his quality. The vibhuti, on the contrary, of the divine is therefore impersonally the manifest power of his quality, one quality. It is his outflowing in whatever form of knowledge, or it could be energy, or it could be love, or it could be strength, and the rest. Any one of them. Okay? So, knowledge, yes, we have got many examples of knowledge. Okay? Then, for instance, Vivekananda would be a vibhuti of knowledge. Now, what about energy? You can take the example of what Srivendra himself says, that French one who conquered Europe. Names escape me. The
Napoleon Ranganath.
Napoleon.
That's right, Napoleon.
Napoleon.
So that was his energy, na? Because he conquered Europe. Okay? And his work was to unify Europe, which became a fact 100 or 150 years later. Okay? Europe has now become one through the European Union. So that is energy. Then love. Love example is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? That's interesting because he is also partly avatar. Okay? is a part avatar, part vibhuti. Then there is the strength and the rest. So strength, strength represents all of them, not only strength, but everything. Okay. So and the rest. Personally, it is the mental form and the animate being in whom this power is achieved and does its great works. Now, the word animate being, that part of you which is animate, which is living. In other words, it is the body, mind, life. Very simple. So, it is the animate being, whereas the higher is not the animate being, it is above life and mind. Okay? So, it is not, this is a lower nature. That's what it is using the word. How he goes on using words to enlarge our understanding of things. Okay, so, and does its works. A preeminence in this inner and outer achievement, a greater power of divine quality, an effective energy is always the sign. The sign of what? The vibhuti. Okay? A preeminence is far superior to the normal man. In his inner and outer achievement. Inner achievement also it can be because there is love and energy and strength, all these things are there. Okay. The human vibhuti is a hero of the race's struggle towards a divine achievement. It's one small step, but still he is doing God's work. And the hero in the Carlylean sense of heroism. Okay. The Carlyle, I made a note somewhere, I have now forgotten. Next time I'll give you the what he means by Carlyle. Okay. I have made a note, now I don't remember where I made the note. But Carlyle was a priest and he had a certain conception of God. Okay, so I think it was strength. I don't remember now, but I'll check and let you know. Okay. So of heroism. Carlyle was now I think I remember. His idea was more of the Jewish type of tradition. Okay. Not the idea of love, but of power. Okay. The idea of love and all that was not so much there in the Jewish tradition. No? He is Lord, he is Master, he is a king. That was the Carlylean sense. He was a priest in England. So that's what he's saying. The human vibhuti is the hero of the race's struggle towards divine achievement. The hero in the Carlylean sense of heroism. A power of God in man. I am Vasudeva, Krishna, among the Vrishnis, says the Lord in the Gita. Dhananjaya, Arjuna, among the Pandavas. Vyasa, among the sages. The seer poet, Ushanas, among the, it's pronounced Ushanas. Okay. Ushana is the Prathama Vibhuti, Ushana. The root is Ushanas. Okay. They're preeminent among each group. That's what he's saying. The first in each category, the greatest of each group, that's a vibhuti. The most powerful representative of the qualities and works in which its characteristic soul power manifests itself. Characteristic soul power, swabhava. Okay. So interesting. See how he is defining. Each soul has got a characteristic and that power is there. Power in the sense of quality. It could be strength, exactly he has listed them now. It could be strength, it could be knowledge, it could be energy, it could be love. Okay? It could be any of them. So that power gets manifested in the vibhuti. In the normal man, every soul has got a very specific nature, the swabhava. But that doesn't shine through always in the outer nature. But in the vibhuti, that inner swabhava shines through. That's exactly what he's saying. Okay? In which characteristic soul power manifests itself. We may be inherently capable of many things, potentially capable, but doesn't always come through. It comes through maybe at the end of life or maybe after several lives. But in the vibhuti, it comes out very clearly. This heightening of the powers of the being is a very necessary step in the progress of the divine manifestation. Every great man who rises above our average level raises by that very fact our common humanity, because they become an example to the rest of mankind. This is what we can achieve. So he becomes an example. So that is what Swami is saying. It's a step upwards into the divine manifestation. He is a living assurance of our divine possibilities. There you are. So if he can do it, so can we. He is a living assurance of our divine possibility, a promise of the Godhead, a glow of the divine light, and a breath of the divine power. One of the children asked me once, I understand God, but what is Godhead? So Godhead is a quality, the state of being a God. Godhead, promise of the Godhead, the, the state of being a God. It's a noun. Now we can go to the next para. It is this truth.
Ranganath,
Yeah.
what is the difference between the vibhuti of the divine and the human vibhuti? Is there a difference?
I didn't.
Here,
I'm a little deaf. Okay. Tell me again clearly, slowly.
the vibhuti of the divine, Sri Aurobindo mentioned that the vibhuti of the divine, and like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8 lines below, again he said the human vibhuti. So is there a difference or a distinction he made here? The vibhuti of the divine and the vibhuti of the human vibhuti.
Can you tell me exactly what she is asking?
Rangada, she's asking the difference between divine vibhuti and human vibhuti.
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. sorry, yeah. You know, really, I can hear sounds, but I can't often hear the words. Okay, so
My Korean English is kind of weaker than Indian English, I think.
but every time Pallavi interprets you so well.
Thank you, Pallavi.
The vibhuti is essentially divine like everybody else. But the vibhuti is halfway to the divine. So, the avatar is fully divine in the inner being. It's not a potentiality anymore, it is fully manifested. But the vibhuti, only one power of the divine is manifested. So, human vibhuti and divine vibhuti, the difference would be that the human vibhuti would be very, very ordinary in his ordinary nature. Okay? But that one particular quality which he is manifesting, that would be divine aspect. So when you say divine vibhuti, it would probably mean is the quality which is in him when you but there's an ordinary part also in him. Na? This is true even of the avatar. The avatar also has got a body mind life. The avatar is also human in the lowest part and also divine in the highest part. The difference is that his divinity is manifested. It is very clear to those who can see. Not everybody, but those who can see. Okay? I don't know.
The sound didn't come clearly from you. Would you say just shortly again? The difference between divine vibhuti and human vibhuti. The one when you said that, the sound wasn't clear. I'm sorry. So.
Okay. So we can now.
Yes, in fact, I also couldn't hear the properly. There was some disturbance.
Yes.
Disconnection in the network, I think.
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
we couldn't hear. None of us could hear properly. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not the only guilty one.
No, it's the network, Narangada. Always blame the network.
But there's also another thing, you know. Her accent is not like an Indian accent, na? And I am used to the Indian accent.
Yes.
Yes. No, also it was my question too. That's why I understood.
Oh. Anyway, the problem is solved. Now we can go to the next one.
No,
It is,
Ranganath, she wants you to repeat because she could not understand.
oh.
Because we couldn't hear you, Rangada.
The connection was bad.
When we
When you
got-
said, the connection was bad. So,
Connection was bad, yes.
yeah. When Rangada explained, the connection was kind of dropped into bad
Mm.
state.
Yes.
There is a, but in the text is some, you said there is something in the text, no?
Yes.
Oh, the vibhuti of the divine. Okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
The vibhuti of the divine is
And
there.
the human vibhuti.
Yeah. The vibhuti of the divine, and later on the human.
He says human vibhuti.
Right. Okay, okay. So the vibhuti of the divine is therefore impersonally the manifest power of his quality. Okay? The vibhuti, the special aspect of the divine, of the vibhuti of the divine. Okay. Now, when he is using the vibhuti of the divine, the vibhuti, the aspect of the divine, one particular aspect comes through to the human being. So, in the human being who is a vibhuti, there is a lower nature and there is one particular power of the divine which manifests through him. So, when he is saying the vibhuti of the divine, he is not saying the divine vibhuti, he is saying the vibhuti of the divine. So, one power, okay, is therefore impersonally the manifest power of his quality. It is referring to the quality that the vibhuti is manifesting in the physical world. As I said, Napoleon is manifesting the vibhuti of power and strength. Okay, where maybe Vivekananda is expressing the vibhuti of the knowledge. So when he sees vibhuti of the divine, that particular quality. Okay, but when he says the human vibhuti, he is talking about human being. Okay, he is a hero of the race's struggle. So it's not that the human vibhuti and divine vibhuti, it is not the divine vibhuti. It is vibhuti of the divine. There is a small difference there.
So, Rangada,
Ah, yes.
Do you have any example of a vibhuti in the ashram?
That's a very difficult question. Because in the ashram, Shrevda was helping everybody to become potentially the Superman. Okay, so I think they are going to go beyond the Vibhuti. The Vibhuti, all of them are engaged in changing their nature upwards. So I don't think there is a single Vibhuti in the ashram because no one was so prominently expressing only one aspect of the divine. In fact, Sri Aurobindo is very, very clear that we don't want only one aspect of the divine. We want all the aspects of the divine together. So, by that definition, there is no vibhuti in the ashram. And the idea was not to become a vibhuti. The idea was in the integral yoga to go and develop all your powers slowly, not in any hurry, until you reach the supramental level, which may be after many lives, maybe. But that is the goal. And if you accept the goal, you are a sadhak of the supramental. The sadhak of the spiritual field is definitely something else than the sadhak of the integral yoga. Because your progress may be slower, but you are accepting every part of the divine. Every part of the divine. So, I don't think there would be any, by this definition and this understanding, there is no vibhuti in the ashram. Only the avatar of mother and Sri Aurobindo. Because if you think of only one power, okay, then and he is leaving a big effect in the physical world. Has any of those disciples left a huge effect in the physical world? No, I don't think so. Because that's not the aim. Anyway, so it's an interesting discussion, but there's a difference. It's not divine vibhuti and human vibhuti. Sunki, is that vibhuti of the divine is a power. Okay, the is therefore the manifest power of this quality. He's using the word vibhuti in a different sense here. Okay, vibhuti in the first vibhuti of the divine is the power of the divine manifesting through the individual. Okay. And the other one, the human vibhuti, is the human being who is at a higher level than the rest of humanity. That's how I understand it.
So Rangada, can we say the vibhuti of divine is the power of divine
Yes.
which is yet not manifested, and the human vibhuti is that particular power manifested in human being?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say in different words. Yes, I think so.
So that's the same thing.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm trying to say in different words. Correct. But in the human vibhuti, that vibhuti of the power of the divine is manifest. Everyone can
Yes.
see that he's got strength, he's got knowledge. You can see that. Okay. Shall we read the next para? Pallavi or Tarika. Tarika comes very rarely. So if you have the text, Pallavi, you have the text?
Oh, Rangana, I have joined from KG, so I don't have the text with me.
Okay, okay. Then,
So shall I read?
yes, please do.
Or Jasmine can read if she wants. She has come after a long time.
Yeah, if she has the text.
I don't have the text.
That's what I thought. That's why Pallavi.
Okay, then I'll read.
Go ahead.
It is this truth which lies behind the natural human tendency to the deification of great minds and heroic characters. It comes out clearly enough in the Indian habit of mind, which easily sees a partial answer avatar in great saints, teachers, founders, or most significantly in the belief of certain Vaishnavas that some of their saints were incarnations of the symbolic living weapons of Vishnu. For that is what all great spirits are, living powers and weapons of the divine in the upward march and battle. This idea is innate and inevitable in any mystic or spiritual view of life, which does not draw an inexorable line between the being and nature of divine and our human being and nature. It is the sense of the divine in humanity. But still, the Vibhuti is not the avatar. Otherwise, Arjuna, Vyasa, Ushanas would be avatars as well as Krishna, even if in a less degree of the power of avatarhood. The divine quality is not enough. There must be the inner consciousness of the Lord and self governing the human nature by his divine presence. The heightening of the power of the qualities is part of the becoming. Bhuta,
Grama.
an ascent, Bhutagrama, an ascent in the ordinary manifestation. In the avatar, there is the special manifestation, the divine birth from above, the eternal universal Godhead descended into a form of individual humanity, Atmanam Srijan, and conscious not only behind the veil but in the outward nature.
So that's the outer nature also is a divine avatar. He is making a distinction between the vibhuti and the avatar. An ordinary man is much less than a vibhuti, and a vibhuti is much less than an avatar. So, it is this truth, the truth of the heightening of the powers. Okay, this whole last sentence of the previous para explains to you what is the vibhuti. That's why I'll read it again. Okay, this heightening. I'm reading the last sentence of the previous paragraph. Actually, last two sentences. This heightening of the powers of the being, because we have all powers. What are the powers we have? We have the power of knowledge, we have the power of strength, power, we have the power of strength, we have the power of love. All these are powers. Okay, so this heightening of the powers of the being is a very necessary step in the progress of the divine manifestation. Any one quality gets manifested in a very prominent manner. Every great man who rises above our average level raises by that very fact our common humanity. He is a living assurance of our divine possibilities. When you see that he is so superior to everyone in one particular aspect, then we also feel that it is possible to do that. A promise of the Godhead, a glow of the divine light, and a breath of the divine power. So that is what he's saying. This truth. Okay? It is this truth that lies behind the natural human tendency to the deification of great minds and heroic characters. Everybody has a hero. So, in fact, in a very funny way, I just remembered, okay, our Tendulkar, okay, he is called the god of cricket. So he made into a god, okay. That's what this natural human tendency to deification of great minds and great players even, and heroic characters. It comes out clearly enough in the Indian habit of mind, which easily sees a partial ansha, avatar in great saints, teachers, founders, or most prominently in the belief of southern Vaishnavas that some of their saints were incarnations of the symbolic living weapons of Vishnu. And the living weapons of Vishnu are what? He has a Shankha, he has a Chakra, he has a Gada. So these are the Alvar saints, okay? There were 10 or 12 Alvar saints in Tamil Nadu, okay? And each one was really, there was a good tremendous achievement, some of them. In fact, Srimli has translated some of them, okay? There was a Nambalwar, okay? He has got in the translations, he has translated from Tamil, their writings. Okay? It's very interesting what he has done. So these saints, okay, southern saints, the Alvars, they represented to the common man one aspect of the divine. The instruments that he carries, usually they're shown with all sorts of either 4 hands or 6 hands, okay, or Shankha in one, Gada in another, Chakra in another. So each one is representing one of those things. That's what Srimad is referring to. So, but this idea in the Indian habit is always exaggerating the thing. In fact, it goes to such an extent that we also do pranam to our political leaders, which absolutely they don't deserve. But it's so common in India. You bow down to, particularly in Tamil Nadu, that lady, what was her name? I keep forgetting names. Okay.
Jayalalitha.
Jayalalitha, yes. She used to love to be bowing down to her and touching her feet. Okay. But Modi does not like it at all. Okay. He immediately lifts them up and does again namaskar to them. So this Indian habit is there. Even political leaders, we do that. So in great saints, teachers and founders, they are not avatars, but the habit, Indian habit is there. And he's giving an example of the Alvar saints. Okay, so, incarnation of symbolic living weapons of Vishnu. For that is what all great spirits are. Living powers and weapons of the divine in the upward march and battle. So it's very interesting if they are saying, because each one represents one aspect of the divine, and the aspect of the divine can be symbolized also with the symbols. So Gada would be of strength, okay. Chakra would also be of strength, okay. Or a light. If we have got one in light, that would be knowledge. So these are the symbols. So that must be the truth behind the Alvar saints' attribution of divine powers to them. Okay. But still, the Vibhuti is not the avatar. That's what Shraddha is saying now. This idea is innate and inevitable in any mystic or spiritual view of life, which does not draw an inexorable line between the being and the nature of the divine and our human being and nature. There is a difference, but if you don't make that difference, naturally you will attribute divinity to even ordinary human beings. Not ordinary, slightly special human beings. But still, the vibhuti is not the avatar. There is a gradation, Srimda is saying, which can easily be mistaken. And sometimes in India particularly, even a vibhuti is given a divine status. But that's not true. But still, the vibhuti is not the avatar. Otherwise, Arjuna, Vyasa, Pushanas would be the avatars as well as Krishna, even if in a less degree of the power of avatarhood. The divine quality is not enough. That's why the divine quality is there in a vibhuti. But there must be an inner consciousness of the Lord and self governing the human nature by his divine presence. This is the avatar is fully conscious of his divinity. Okay? A very good example is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who used to sometimes act like the divine. He used to bless people, he used to guide them, okay, pour out. But then at other times he was like an ordinary human being who is praying. Okay. So, but still the vibhuti is not the avatar, otherwise all the vibhuti are avatars. The divine quality is not enough. There must be the inner consciousness of the Lord and self governing the human nature by his divine presence. The heightening of the power of the qualities is part of the becoming bhuta grama. Bhuta means the coming into existence and grama total. Okay, the total coming into being. All the powers of the divine are manifested in the physical world. An ascent in the ordinary manifestation. In the avatar, there is this special manifestation, the divine birth from above, the eternal and universal Godhead descended into a form of individual humanity. Atmanam Srijami. I lose myself into, I create by losing myself into the human world and conscious, not only behind the veil, but in the outward nature. Those who can see the divinity in the avatar, they are of a special quality they have. So those who can see, they can see the divinity in those who are avatars. Mother has said. Okay, that brings us to the end of the paragraph, and he has still not told us what is the method. So he's slowly building up towards it. The next time, in the next paragraph, there is another theory of avatarhood. So he's still going on, telling us the qualities of the avatar. Finally, towards the end of the chapter, he will probably tell us. And Srimdo does something very interesting. He has titled it The Process of Avatarhood, and now he is discussing all the ifs and buts. And then in the next paragraph, the divine birth and divine works, probably there he would tell us. This is what he does in Life Join also. He will give the heading of the chapter, the process of avatarhood, but he will really discuss the process of avatarhood in the next chapter. That is it. Here he is discussing all the ifs and buts and all the conditions and what are the background knowledge necessary for the process of avatarhood. Okay, we stop here today, and next time we'll read from There is an Intermediary Idea.
Ranganath, that is next year.
Yes, you are right. Next year. Correct.
Merci beaucoup.
Bon année.
Bonne année. Bonne année.
Happy New Year.